Hi everyone, Jennifer Blevins-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel and Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today we're going to talk about how to start standardizing workflows in your medical practice. Before I jump in, I just want to make a note that during some transitions in my life right now, I am only going to be releasing one video a week occasionally and not two. However, once things settle down a little bit personally, I will resume the 2 videos a week. However, right now it's most likely just going to be one, but make sure you have subscribed to my channel and you have signed up for notifications when I release those videos so that you don't miss out. Today's video about how to standardize the workflows in a medical practice is kind of piggybacking off the previous video I did on why it's important to standardize workflows in a medical practice. I did mention in that video that I was going to be doing this step-by-step guide. This is going to be a very general step-by-step guide, depending on your needs, your specialty, your size. Some of these steps might not be necessary, or they might need to be a little different. You might have additional steps or less steps, but this is just to create a general guide for you. It's a high-level overview. I'm going to try to keep it brief as possible. I know I always say that, and I tend to go a little bit longer, but I hope that it is helpful. So if you haven't watched that video first, please go check that out and then come back here. Okay, so here are my notes, and we already talked about in that other video why standardization is so important, and it increases efficiency, it reduces the mistakes made by staff members, patient satisfaction and safety increases, and there's many other things. Okay, so I'm not going to go into why it should be standardized. We're just going to jump into the steps of standardizing, okay? Because a lot of times people get stuck in this roundabout thing and they just want to jump to the actual way of getting it done. And I don't blame you. So let's do step number 1. You have to identify the most critical processes in your practice first. Everyone's is going to be different, and everything cannot be standardized at once. If you bite off more than you can chew, you're not going to be successful. You have to do one thing at a time. So you have to prioritize the things that are the most critical in your practice based off patients, based off your specialty, based off the needs of the patients, okay? So you want to make sure that you're focusing on the highest impact areas. And if you need help identifying that, don't hesitate to talk to the provider if you're the manager, or talk to your clinical staff to help you, and talk to your billing staff because maybe it's a revenue cycle related thing. But make sure you get input from everyone if you're not sure. You want to ask questions to identify these, and some of those questions would be like, where do we see the most mistakes occurring in our practice? What tasks cause the most claim denials? It's a very good question because it affects revenue. What processes create the most confusion among staff? There are always a few. And what tasks affect revenue the most? Revenue, especially small practices, you really can't afford a lot of challenges when it comes to your revenue cycle. Some examples where this might be the areas that you need to focus on is insurance verification. And I do have a separate video about insurance benefits verification, so check that out. Patient check-in, prior authorization submission, referral obtaining for patient visits, claim submission deadlines, denial follow-up processes, and patient scheduling protocols. You're probably going, whew, yeah, I can see why those would be priority, and absolutely, just in the nature of them, right? But maybe some of these are working well and you're not having challenges in your practice. So that's why you need to evaluate your specific circumstance. Focus on the processes that directly affect patient flow, revenue cycle, performance, and compliance risk. Keep that in mind during this, okay? This approach gives you the biggest operational return first. It's kind of like your low-hanging fruit, right? It has a high return on some very easy things to establish. Step 2, Document the current process that's being followed. So before you can improve the workflow, you have to know what the workflow currently actually is that is happening today. So if you're not sure, then you probably need to document it and try to figure it out. You'll have to ask the staff that are directly involved with it as well, because most likely you are the provider or the manager, or maybe you wear both hats and you're not sure. And it's okay, but you need to find out. Many clinics make the assumption that they know the process, but when they ask the staff, they discover 3 or 4 different methods are being used. So just go into it by asking staff about this, that you might be getting different answers, and that's going to give you an answer in itself, right? Your goal is to document the real world process, not the ideal one, okay? And ask a staff member to walk you through the task step by step. Like role play, I think, is an awesome way to do it. They're the staff member, of course, you're the patient, or you watch them do it in real time. Maybe you will sit up there and observe, or they talk you through them doing something that is real, and you can document it in real time. I think that's a great way to do it. If you can't sit and monitor and document and watch them do a real life example, then role playing would be the best option after, okay? You want to make sure that they're utilizing all the resources that they should be and things like that. So when you write down their step by step, then you go back, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but you'll be able to look at your detailed notes that you're taking to identify areas of improvement and gaps and things like that. It doesn't have to be complicated, this documentation of their step by steps. Even a simple checklist or written outline is enough to begin. It just needs to be detailed enough so you understand when you go back and read it. The goal is visibility at this point. Step 3, once you've evaluated what is currently being done, you need to create the standard procedure for each process, okay? So you need to create the official workflow that everyone in the clinic who will be fulfilling that responsibility at some point will follow. This will become your standardized operating procedure, or your SOP, if you've heard me talk about that. A good standardized workflow should include what task it is that's being performed. Of course, that makes total sense, right? Who is responsible for the task? When the task occurs, the step-by-step process, and what documentation is required, if any, during that process, okay? So for example, the front desk insurance verification procedure, you verify eligibility within 48 hours of the appointment, you confirm copay and deductible, documentation verification is in the EMR eligibility section, you notify the billing team if authorization is required, or whoever's responsible for obtaining that authorization or referral if required, and you alert the patient if you find any challenges, right? Their insurance is inactive, they have a high balance on their account, maybe could be part of this, whatever. And it's about removing uncertainty, right? You just want to make it very, very clear, all these steps. And the staff should never have to guess how to perform the task, when it should be done, or who is responsible. Your standard operating procedure should answer all of those, and it all should be documented in a workbook, in an electronic copy they can access from a shared drive, something like that, because you're going to be evaluating these regularly and updating them, so they need to have access to real-time changes if possible, in addition to you having some kind of meeting or update with them to inform them of changes that have been made. Step 4, train the team on the workflow. You have to train the team. You can't just tell them, oh, remember this step, or remember when you showed me this and that, we're going to change that and now you have to do this, or we're going to keep that so you can keep doing that. No. You need to have a formalized training on your new standard operating procedures. Training is critical. Many practices make the mistake that putting it in writing and giving it to their staff members is sufficient, and it's not, okay? You have to train them and go one by one. But again, you do still need that backup documentation somewhere where everyone can access it in real time. However, it does need to be discussed and gone through, especially the first time it's been created. And you should be reviewing the workflow with the team as a whole and not individually, right? So people can ask questions, you can troubleshoot, you can do that all together so you're not doing it in siloed conversations. You want to explain why the process exists. I think putting the why behind things is critical for getting employees to jump on board with something, but also for them to see how it affects everyone else and their workflows. Because if you're showing them how it affects patient care and revenue and their colleagues' workflows, I feel like it goes a lot better. This helps staff understand the purpose, not just the task, right? And standardization creates fairness, especially when it comes to accountability and reviews and things like that. Because everyone is expected to follow the same process, it reduces confusion and conflict. And anytime we can try to avoid conflict and reduce any confusion is very, very good to try. Step 5, you need to monitor and improve the process. So if you've put something in place, you need to monitor it. And not everything is going to be perfect the first time, the second time, maybe not even the third time. So you want to monitor it. You want to ask your staff how it's going. You want to be firsthand observing them in actual real world application. And then you want to make any improvements. Okay. So that's going to be really, really important, because just because you standardize something doesn't mean it's permanent until it actually goes through the test of applying it to the real world in operations, okay? It should be reviewed periodically no matter what. So if whatever you put into place actually went really well and you're happy with it, then maybe in 3 months, 6 months, you need to just monitor it again to see if it's still working as well as intended. The workflows could change because payer policies get updated. They change what they require. The EMR system changes. You have staffing changes. Maybe you have a new provider that comes on board. Maybe you've added another location. There's so many reasons why workflows need to change. And so that's another reason why periodically things need to be monitored, because when those changes occur, people don't actually usually they're so caught up in other things that need to be done on priority, they don't think about how it affects the standardization of protocols and workflows until it's brought to their attention, or they consciously are looking at it and realize, oh shoot, I didn't even think about that. We need to make changes to it. I'm guilty of it myself. It's just, real life, realistic scenarios of trying to balance a lot of things in everyday operations. Another reason that you might have to adjust workflows is because of regulatory requirements. A lot of people don't even think about that, but it comes down to that, especially for you have your payer regulations, you have your federal regulations, you have your state regulations, you have your specialty regulations. So there's a lot of things that play into that can change often. And then operational improvements, of course, right? A simple way of monitoring it is managers and administrators should see if workflows are being followed, first of all, by their staff and they're not cutting corners, and then if the steps are still effective. It's very simple. Observing, asking questions to your staff is always the way to go. And if staff are consistently deviating from a process, you just need to ask yourself and ask them too, is the process unclear to them? Is it inefficient? Is it outdated? Because, all those things can happen pretty fast without any kind of control, right? And the standardization should evolve with the clinic. And I'm sure that is implied, but I just wanted to say it. Just keep in mind that a clinic becomes operationally stable when processes are stronger than individual habits. Okay, that is really, really important. Without standardization workflows, every employee becomes their own system, which is scary. Mistakes are increased, training becomes difficult, growth becomes chaotic. And if you're able to standardize, you can make things better because training then becomes easier. Your staff expectations become very clear. And the operations become predictable, which is very nice when you're a manager or a provider, when you know that your staff is doing everything the way that they need to or how they should be, and you know what the outcome will be if they do. This will all directly impact your revenue cycle as well in a positive way, which we all know. We always are trying to find ways to make things more efficient and to increase or stabilize the cash flow in our business. So this is all going to help that as well. If a critical process only works when one specific employee is present, your clinic doesn't have a system, it has a dependency. I talked about this in my first video of why standardization of workflows is important, but I want to hit it home again. Okay, let me say that one more time. If a critical process only works when one specific employee is present in your practice, so think about it, your clinic doesn't have a system, it has a dependency, and that is not okay. Standardizing workflows helps ensure that your clinic runs smoothly no matter who is working on which day, because they know their expectations, they know the standardization of workflows, and you know the outcomes. If you have any questions or comments about this, please leave that in the comments below. Smash the thumbs up button if today's video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, please share this video with your colleagues whom you feel would benefit from the information. I appreciate the support, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.